Hey guys, welcome. Whoops, black screen to start. Welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Bottom left hand corner, we got Tim starting. Sorry, upper left hand corner. Man, all sorts of discombobulated here to start. Upper left hand corner, we got Tim starting as the red Protoss. Bottom left hand corner, we have Machine starting as the midnight blue Zerg. I just have to say outright, my bias in most of these casts is towards Machine because he's an awesome dude. One of the, I'm gonna say it, the best guy in StarCraft. He's just awesome. He's just awesome. He's been doing esports stuff for an incredibly long period of time, has worked at Twitch forever, making all the Twitch stuff happen, and is just an incredible gamer is the other aspect of it, and a great competitor. And just kind of a night, exactly what you would want in your stereotypical champion. Now that I'm done singing Machine's praises, he's an excellent Zerg, by the way. Hasn't been hard grinding recently, but even in not full condition, he's still a formidable opponent. We have Tim in the upper left-hand corner, who's been, I think, in a similar situation where he's just getting back to the game. Not sure how hard he's been grinding, but he's shown some really good matches thus far. Tim was an S-ranked Protoss when he departed. Machine tends to hover around A/S level. He actually tends to hover around the same arena that Artosis is, actually. I feel like Artosis G5 and Machine are usually in the same striking distance of one another. And I don't know, and it just feels like it's always been that way. I love it actually if those three guys, you have full representation there. It would be great if those three guys could just sit down and talk with one another and brainstorm and grind and practice and whatnot. And really, I feel like that's where they likely would improve the best, but what do I know? I'm just a commentator who likes seeing those guys play against one another for both the camaraderie and for the competition. Looks like we saw an 11 hatch here out of Machine, by the way. Drone Scout is making its way to the upper left. Overlord scouting bottom right. Pylon dropping. We do have a gateway opener here from Tim. This is really, that's just me like negging those three guys and just trying to like get them to play one another more for fun. And although I think they do get competitive with one another, but just because they have fantastic games. Actually, Machine has very good games with Nesh. Raz has very good games with Machine and Nesh. As a side note, all these guys should just play and then send me the replays so that I can just commentate them, and that would make me super happy because it's just really fun, good StarCraft. I think some of my best games actually commentating are Machine on various maps, just being a ferocious competitor. All right, enough of that. Burst out on the way, drone trying to delay it while the spawning pool starts. This is oftentimes where people go 9 pool or 11 pool because you know that initial, oh, the Zealot actually peeling off going towards the third. That surprises me from Tim. Okay, the Zerglings are now along the way, but yeah, interestingly enough, not going to approach with that Zealot. He might be drawing him off just to see whether a drone made its way to the 6 o'clock location, and then he's going to rejoin with the 2 Zealots and the probe in larger numbers. It looks like we do have at least 4 Zerglings out. That's not good odds for the Zerglings, but Machine, wise to the 1 gate opener versus mutual hatcheries, is pulling a drone and has lots of Zerglings as well, going for as best as round he can. Got okay hits initially, at least he didn't end up 2v1 over the long haul, redrawing the Zerglings back. Unfortunately, a lot of the damaged Zerglings, oh, nice little bit of micro there to get some healthier Zerglings towards the front. Let's see if Tim is able to draw that out. Now the question becomes, okay, you're gonna try to make his way back amongst this outline. 2 Zealots gone, great micro from Machine thus far. Micro Machines, if anybody is that old and remembers those commercials. Machine dropping that 3rd hatchery. The Zealot making its way around, but Machine, recognizing he got a really good trade, is making a dash for that natural expansion. 2 Zerglings are peeling off. That should be sufficient to kill that Zealot, as it's at half health. The probe might interrupt that equation, and in fact it does. But the drones should theoretically be able to deal with this, but while that's happening, the Zerglings have breached the natural expansion, so we've got microing happening on a lot of fronts. Tim getting the better draw of this, however. He's got 2 Zealots that spawned. Tim only missing a little bit of micro right there. Does that Zealot, I'm not sure how many drone kills that Zealot was able to get. I'm presuming he got at least 1. Taking some heavy hits. Now the Zerglings are cleaned up here, by the way. So wild opener, both directions. And this is what I'm talking about. These guys bring the games. Tech delayer. Tim's at least able to scout that. Does he have he does not have gas as of yet. So this could be very troublesome, and he might want to overproduce cannons potentially to stay in this match, because Machine does have the option of going Spire potentially, and with the delay of that gas, with everything that's happened, there is a very strong possibility that Machine ends up with air and Tim ends up with not a lot of anti-air to cope potentially, because this assimilator is coming. This is a 5-minute assimilator, and this gas has been up for quite a bit of time. Machine's going to have a pile of gas to work with. The layer's finished. Cybernetics core is not complete for Tim. This might be a quick game. Tim gonna try to buy himself some time by moving some zealots across the map. If Machine is heads up, all he has to do is drop a sunken colony or two. Is he gonna opt to do that? Oftentimes Zerg get greedy and they don't want to drop that static defense, and as a result they end up getting overwhelmed by plays like these. But this okay, now dropping the sunken colony, but I don't think that's going to be in time. And do we have more Zerglings that are being produced? We have a very thin 2 additional Zerglings that are going to join the fray. Spire well across the way, and the Zerglings, yeah, they're going to try to block. Yeah, and that creep colony is late as well. So Machine going to have to evacuate there. 6 o'clock base is mining a little bit to try to help. The drones trying to blockade and lock these zealots in place, but this is also doing a lot of economic damage to Machine. Did he get a sunken colony in the main? No, and the Spire about halfway finished, so now the Zealots can bypass that sunken colony, and Tim all of a sudden has bought himself the time he was looking for with the Zealot run bys, and it's definitely going to hurt Machine's economy on top of everything else, and getting some pretty good trades in the midst of this. Man, oof. All right, Zealot taking 2 Zealots are heftily damaged. It looks like Machine is able to pick them out. Spire not that far from finishing. Stargate just finished. But let's see if Machine was able to preserve. Well, he's definitely got a few larvae to work with. He's got 500 minerals. If he can get 5 Mutalisks in the air right now, I think he wins. So we got 3 count, and he's also got to go straight to the natural expansion. The cannons have to be in place as well. Tim really, I gotta say, Tim might have bought himself exactly what he needed. 3 more Zealots walking across the map, by the way. Let's see if they're headed to the 6 o'clock location. Machine's taking a lot of economic damage. Did he spot the Zealot? Did not spot the Zealots over the high ground, and I believe these Zealots are going to buy the time. Yeah, and the Zerglings are missing it. So basically these 3 Zealots are going to force the Mutalisks out of position to deal with the 6 o'clock. And as a result, that cannon and that Corsair are going to remain safe. And the Mutalisks are, and in fact, they're going to have to turn around rapidly. Machine just now getting, yeah, look at all of this redirecting. Wow, nice play from Tim to keep things active. Machine is mitigating losses. Oh, lost a drone right there. Canceling because he knew he wasn't going to get that spore up. These Zealots going to lose their lives rapidly, but bought all the time in the world there for Tim, and that's just going to keep in the map. He also has double the workers now because he kept building units that entire time. So it turned into a opportunity for a Machine to honestly end the game and sweep it pretty rapidly with a counterattack. It's turned into Tim being able to get a Templar Archives up, a cannon at his natural expansion. He's got a cannon at his main, and he has enough Corsair to repel attack forces. Also, since we're at a later stage of the match, Machine just now dropping a second gas, by the way. I'll be interested to see if he'll drop a quick third. He's got an evolution chamber. Interesting, he didn't Sim City up here. I'm curious what the Sims, I'm wondering if this is also just to like, let's get the hatchery down and not have to worry about it maneuver as well. I trust him actually in a lot of these placements regardless. Hydraulic Den on the front. We are way away from Lurker. It looks like we are going to see a transition to 5-hatch. Rather than 6-hatch Muta, we're going to stick to the transition to 5-hatch Hydralisk. My concern for Machine at this stage is that by the time he gets Hydralisks out on the map in sufficient numbers, he is going to be swarmed by Tim's army. Machine has done an incredible job of droning very rapidly and saturating fairly well across his bases. He's got that second gas up. Doesn't really need the third gas if he's just going to go with Hydralisks. Looks like he is going to make his way up to 6 hatcheries total. But is still continuing with the Hydralisk upgrades in the midst of this. The Mutalisks backing off right this second as the Corsairs, one of them picked off, but 4 of them making their way out on the map. And we still do not have... Actually, that's a superior number of Corsairs as well. Tim doesn't recognize it and wisely is playing defensively in the midst of this. But he's got a supply lead. He's got a DT potentially to go out. He's got some Corsairs that could do some bullying. Psystorm is complete, and he's going to have... Never mind, he's going to morph that to Archon to try to do some protection against the potential Mutalisks. I think he recognizes the timing of all of this because of just how skilled he is. That he's caught Machine where he's potentially trying to transition into a larger army, but he's going to have a superior army fielded before Machine's really able to respond and get the third base or other mitigating designs that he was hoping for. Corsair, or the Mutalisks, unfortunately engaging the Corsair heads up, getting some damage done, turning around, taking a lot of damage as they're sailing their way across, and now we have a swarming attack at the 6 o'clock with the Zealots. We do have a Sunken colony behind the lines. A DT is detected, at least in the midst of this, but Machine, like I was saying, just doesn't have the raw troops. Second Sunken colony there as well, but this is a lot of dead territory potentially. We have a slew of Hydralisks being built, but they're being built under fire. The Overlord's starting to lose their life. Was the Dark Templar targeted? It looks like the Dark Templar was targeted down. The one Zealot being left, and Tim pressing the engagement, chasing the Hydralisks out, gonna try to get some damage at the natural expansion. That's also buying time for these Overlords, or sorry, for the Corsairs to wipe out the Overlords, and they're just crushing everything. So Tim, wow. Tim with some aggressive wild maneuvers, completely throwing Machine off his game, keeping himself alive, and he's going to be able to sweep around, honestly, what is looking like a winning situation from here. Machine drawing some of the units away on Micro. It looks like the Zealots got pulled across, but regardless, Tim can easily go ahead and grab that 12 o'clock base while Machine's trying to stabilize. He's resaturating the drones. He's still in the red. He still doesn't have Overlords in sufficient numbers. He's getting Overlord speed to help out his anti-air situation a little bit. Range also upgrading. 5 Corsairs today, +1. They also have +1 weapons, keep in mind in this. Man, Tim managed to do a lot of macro in the midst of a lot of this. Corsairs sailing away, Tim moving in with another enormous army, +1 weapons there as well, and there's no lurkers because of all of the disruption earlier. Machine trying to swarm back, but this is honestly too little too late. And we're gonna have another side storm that could just be dedicated to the drone lines, or it can just swing back and go with the Hydralisk. This is too much for Machine. I'm expecting a GG as the natural expansion getting gutted. Corsairs wiping out things at the 6 o'clock. Zealots marching into the main and feasting on drone lines with their blades. Actually, is Machine gonna hold? I'm a little bit shocked, actually, that he might clean up the Zealots there at the natural expansion. Shows you his competitive spirit, being able to stay in this, but the Corsairs are still active in the midst of this from Tim. A Mutalisk somehow getting spawned, but yeah, Machine just recognizing too much. GG's right there. Wild back and forth. Insane action, but like I said, some of the best games I cast have Machine featured in them. Good game between these two. We're going to move on to the next match. Tim goes up match. It is a best of 3. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.